Hi friends, no? So welcome for our next lesson. So we have discussed problems involving RL circuits. So paano naman si RC circuit? So we have here our problem number 3, no? So in a series RC circuit, our resistance is 5 ohms, the capacitance is 0.01 farads, and our voltage source is 100 volts. When T is equal to 0, I is equal to 0. So find the charge at time 0.75 seconds, no? So, let's use our model, no? So, di ba mayroon tayong model na ginagamit? So, that is sorry, dq over dt, then plus q over c is equivalent to E. Okay, so, yan. So, let's solve, no? So, we have 5, that is our R, dq over dt. We have plus q. Of course, that is the variable that we are looking for. C is 0.01. Okay, then we have is equal to, we have 100. Okay, so 1 over 0.01 is equivalent to 100. So this can be rewritten as 100q, no? Ayan. Okay, so let's let's simplify the differential equation. So we have, let's divide both sides by 5. So, of course, this one is cancelled. So, this is 20. Then, pati ito, 20 na lang rin to. Okay, so therefore, our differential equation will be dq over dt plus 20q is equal to 20. Okay, so we can solve this, no? Again, using linear or using variable separable. So, dun sa una, puro linear na tayo, no? So, dito try naman natin mag-varsep. Diba? So, we have dq over dt is equal to 20 minus 20q. Then, factor out ko si 20, we will have dq over dt is equivalent to 20 times 1 minus q. Okay, then pagpalitan natin si dt tsaka si 1 minus q para ma-integrate natin both sides. So, we'll have dq over 1 minus q. This is equivalent to 20 dt. Then, integrate. Okay, so we will have negative natural logarithm of 1 minus q. Okay, then we have this is equal to 20t. Ayan. Okay, then plus c, of course. Okay, then multiply ako ng negative 1 or divide ako ng negative 1 both sides para hindi maging complex yung ating natural logarithm, no? Yung function sa loob. So, cancel. Ayan. So, we will have the natural logarithm of 1 minus q. This is equal to negative 20t plus c sub 1. Kasi nagkaroon na tayo ng change in variable in the arbitrary constant. No, c divided by negative 1 is another arbitrary constant. So just to denote that there are changes in the arbitrary constant, kaya naglalagay tayo ng subnotations. No, so let's apply E property. Ayan. So we have 1 minus q is equivalent to e raised to negative 20t. Okay, multiply to e raised to c1. So, alam natin this is equivalent to another arbitrary constant which we will call c2. So, we have, transpose natin tong 1 sa kabila, no? Dun sa kabila. So, we'll have negative q is equal to negative 1 plus c2 e raised to negative 20t. Then, divide both sides by negative 1. So, cancel, cancel. Cancel na rin to. So, we have C2 divided by negative 1 is another arbitrary constant. So, let me call this C3. Ayan. So, therefore, we have Q is equal to 1 plus C3 E raised to negative 20T. Okay? So, Ayan, no? Yan yung ating general solution for this differential equation. Now how are we going to solve for the value of C3, no? So let's just use 'di ba meron tayong formula na I is equal to dq over dt. Tama? So let's solve for the value of I by getting the derivative or rather the integral of dq and dt. So varcept to. So we have I dt is equal to dq. So let's integrate. So we have IT is equal to Q. Okay, so to Q plus C. Ayan. So, uh, Q is equal to, basically, no, Q is equal to IT. So, we can disregard the C kasi we're just getting the value of uh, the Q lang naman na ipa-plug natin dito para magamit natin yung ating initial condition na T is equal to 0 when I is equal to 0. Okay, so we have IT, no, I times time is equal to 1 plus C3 e raised to negative 20t. Ayan. Then, alam naman natin, no? I is equal to 0 when t is equal to 0. So, we have 0 is equal to 1 plus C3 e raised to negative 20 times 0. So, e raised to 0 is just simply 1. This is equal to 1. So, therefore, C is equal to negative 1. Diba? So, we have substituting to get the the particular solution rather, we have Q is equal to 1 minus 1 or 1 minus e raised to negative 20t. This is our particular solution, which we will be using to get the charge, no? The charge at time 0.75 seconds. So, Q is equal to 1 minus e raised to negative 20t. So, sabi nga natin 0.75 seconds. So, we have Q is equivalent to, so let's bring out our calculator. Yan, so we have 1 minus shift ln raised to negative 20 alpha x. Ayan. Okay, then press calc. What's the value of x? We have 0.75. Then we have, ayan, 0.999 or simply 1 coulomb. No? Q is equal to 1. So, baba ko lang. Ayan, no? Q is equal to 1 coulomb. So, let's try using varcept tuloy. Let's try using linear, no? So, actually, mas madali ito sa linear. So, kukunin natin tong equation na to. Asa na yun? Eto, to. No? So, we have dq by a linear. So, we have dq over dt plus 20q. Okay? Is equal to 20. Tama ba? Yes. No? So, we have our P of t is 20. Our Q of t is 20 as well. Okay, so let's substitute. So we have Q is equal to, rather, mu of t pala muna. Mu of t is equal to e raised to the integral of 20 dt. So this is equivalent to e raised to 20t. Diba? Then plug natin. So we have Q of t is equal to 1 over e raised to 20t multiplied to the integral of 20 e raised to 20t dt plus c. Okay, so dito pa lang satisfied na, no? We have u is equal to 20t. Nalagay natin. U is equal to 20t. Du is equal to 20 dt. So we can proceed directly with eu du. The integral of this is eu plus c. Or simply eu na lang. No, so we have q of t be equal to 1 over e raised to 20t multiplied to e raised to 20t plus c. Okay, so distributing, this will cancel yung ating e raised to 20t. So we'll have q of t be equal to 1 plus c e raised to negative 20t. No, so this is our q of t. So solving for the value of c, no, so let's substitute our initial condition, no, sabi nga when t is equal to 0, when t is equal to 0, I is equal to 0. So we have again I times dito. So we have so we have 0 is equal to 1 plus c e raised to negative 20 times 0. So, alam natin this is equivalent to 1. So, therefore, c is also equal to negative 1. Which is, ito na yung lalabas sa atin. No? So, we have q of t be equal to 1 minus e raised to negative 20t. And by getting the value of q at time 0.75, since we already have the same formula, we have the same answer. Q is equal to 1 coulomb. Okay? So, that's how we solve, no? Two methods, linear and Barcep, for our RC circuits. No, so next, we have problem number 4. A resistance of 10 ohms and capacitance of 0.1 farads is connected in series with a 12 volts battery. Find the charge and the current 2.6 seconds after the switch is closed. So meron tayong condition after the switch is closed. So let's visualize first our circuit. No, so connected daw sa ating voltage source na 12 volts. This is our resistance. This is our capacitance. Ito yung ating switch. Ayan. Okay, so kapag daw, sabi no, after the switch is closed, meaning initially, the switch is open, no? This is the initial condition. No, so at time 0 dun siya right on the instant na mag-start yung instantiation natin, magko-close yung circuit. So kapag ka ganito, no, so remember ano nga yung ano natin? We have RDQ T plus Q over C is equal to E. 'Di ba? Yan yung ating condition. So usually, ano yung charge at time ganito? Diba? Since we are identifying the rate of the change in the charge in respect to time. So, since the switch is open before the initial state, no? Anong ibig sabihin nun? Walang dumadaloy na kuryente sa circuit natin. Kasi 'di ba, ayun open circuit eh. Diba, mula dito, ganyan na lang siya. Hindi na siya tatawid dito sa kabila. So, walang kuryente. I is equal to 0. No, so with that, since I is equal to 0, Q is equal to IT, no, alam naman natin yon. So therefore, Q is equal to 0 when time is equal to, time is less than 0. Ayan. Yan yung ating condition, no? So, okay, game, no? So, let's solve. So, na-visualize naman na natin. So, okay, game, no? So, we have our formula, no? What is the resistance? That is 10. 10 dq over dt plus q over 0.1 is equal to, what's our voltage? That is 12 volts. Then, let's divide, 0.1 is equal to 10. Tama ba ako? 0.1 is equal to 10. 1 over 0.1 rather is equal to 10. So, lagay ko dito. 10Q. So, divide both sides by 10. So, cancel. So, we'll have dq over dt plus q is equal to 1.2. Okay, so, again, no? Linear or Barcep, kayo bahala. Okay lang. No? So, walang problema doon. So, let's try Barcep, no? So, lipat ko si CQ sa kabila. dq over dt is equal to 1.2 minus q. So, pagpalitin natin, dq over 1.2 minus q is equivalent to dt. Then integrate. So we'll have negative natural logarithm ng 1.2 minus q is equal to t plus c. Okay, then divide both sides by negative 1. Diba? Para makancel to. So therefore, our natural logarithm of 1.2 minus q is equivalent to negative t plus c sub 1. There is our first change in the arbitrary constant. Okay, so next, let's apply ln e property to cancel out e, or rather ln, no? So we have 1.2 minus q is equal to e raised to c1 is c2. Another change in the arbitrary constant multiplied to e raised to negative t. Diba? So that is our equation. Next, no? So, lipat ko si 1.2 sa kabila. So, we'll have negative q be equal to negative 1.2 plus c2 e raised to negative t. Divide both sides by negative 1. Diba? So, therefore, we have q is equal to 1.2 plus c sub 3 e raised to negative t. No? So, ayan. So, okay. So, we can now solve for the value of C3 or the arbitrary constant C. So, we have 0 is equal to 1.2 minus C3 or rather plus C3 e raised to negative 0, negative 1 times 0 rather. So, this will be equal to 1, diba? So, therefore, our C3 is equal to negative 1.2. Okay, so we have Q of T is equal to 1.2 times 1. Pinactor out ko na lang minus e raised to negative T. Ayan, this is our particular solution for the circuit. No? So, sabi, now, what is the charge and the current 2.6 seconds after the switch is closed? So, what we will do is, we have, kay charge muna tayo. So, we have Q, lipat na ako sa kabilang slide. We have Q of T is equal to 1.2 times 1 minus e raised to negative T. So, we have Q of 2.6 is equal to 1.2 times 1 minus e raised to negative 2.6. So, therefore, we have Q is equal to, let's bring out the calculator. So, we have 1.2 times 1 minus e raised to negative x. Ayan, then calc, what's the value of x? That is 2.6, no? Be equal to 1.111, no? So, we have our charge 1.111 coulomb. So, natatakpan pala. Ayan. Okay, so we have our Q is equal to 1.111 coulombs, no? So, how about the charge? Alam natin na ang charge I is equal to dq over dt. Tama. Alam natin yan. So, we already have our value of Q, no? Yung formula natin for Q. We have here 1.2 times 1 minus e raised to negative t. So, let's just get the derivative of this function for us to get the value of I. Diba? So, we have the derivative of 1.2 times 1 minus e raised to negative t. Okay, so we'll have I is equal to I of t is equivalent to 1 is already a constant, no? So, hindi natin siya isasama. So, 1.2 times, what is the derivative of negative e raised to negative t? That is e raised to negative t. Kasi, di ba, ang derivative ng EU is equivalent to, di ba, That is EU multiplied to du over dx, the derivative of u in respect to x, or kung ano man yung dinidifferentiate natin. Dito, we have the derivative of negative t in respect to t is negative 1. So, we have negative 1 times negative 1 is positive. So, we have e raised to negative t. Ayan. So, purahin ko na to ha. Ayan. So, therefore, what's the value of I at time 2.6? So, we have 1.2 times e raised to negative 2.6. So, therefore, I is equivalent to what? So, we have our calculator. So, yung formula natin ay 1.2 e shift e raised to negative x. Then, calc 2.6. We have, ayan. So, just press eng, no, para lumabas yung engineering prefix natin. This is equivalent to 89.128 milliampere. No? So, ayan. We have 89.128 milliampere. Okay? So, yan. Nasolve na natin yung value ng Q as well as the value of I. Okay? So, ayan. So, yan no. You can try to solve this using Barcep. We will arrive with the same ano lang naman. So, saan ang turning point natin sa Barcep? Barcep tuloy linear. Dito, no? So, ito. dq over dt plus q is equal to 1.2. So, our p is equal to 1. Our q is equal to 1.2. So, we have e. Sinolve ko na, no? E raised to the integral of dt. So, we have e raised to t. So, therefore, we have q of t be equal to 1 over e raised to t multiplied to the integral of 1.2 e raised to t dt plus c. Okay, so we have q of t be equal to 1 over e raised to t times 1.2, lalabas yung constant. The integral of e raised to t dt is simply e raised to t plus c. Then distributing this one, no, so we'll have q of t be equal to 1.2, of course cancel na to, plus c e raised to negative t. No, so ayan. Okay, so we will arrive, no, with almost the same answer, no? So ayan. Okay, so ayan. So we have the value of c. What's the value of c in this case? So charge is 0. When time is equal to 0, 1.2 plus c e raised to negative 0. No? So we have c is equal to negative 1.2. Ayan. So we have q of t be equal to 1.2. Again, factor out ko lang sa 1.2. 1 minus e raised to negative t. No? Ayan. So we have the same formula. So we will arrive with the same answer using linear. No, mas mabilis lang talaga si linear, mas madali. Okay, basta alam yung formula, of course. Okay, so that is for RL circuits, no? So last topic for the applications of electric circuits will be transient circuits. No, so stay tuned, no, for the next lesson. Okay, stay safe and God bless.